Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Shocker Secrets to Success. You'll notice a new friend on screen that we have with us today. I'm Kim Sandlin, the Director of Student Success, and I will let my co-presenter introduce herself before we get started today.
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is Trang Bui. I'm the Financial Wellness Graduate Assistant in the Office for Student Money Management.
All right, and we are here today. It's a special week on campus. It's First Generation Student Celebration Week, which is a mouthful, but we know at Wichita State we have a lot of First Gen students, and we want to celebrate you. We've been celebrating you all week long. But today's episode is about First Gen finances. We know that money is sometimes stressful, and we want to make sure that we give you all the tools and educational pieces that you need so that you can make really good decisions with your money. And that is what today's episode is all about. You all know I'm a first-gen student, have been working here forever, it seems like. And Zhang is a first generation student as well. So she can give you a little bit of her background. I'm really going to turn it over to her. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. We can answer them throughout the episode today. So take it away.
All right. Thank you, Kim. So yeah, like Kim said, I'm a first generation student as well. I do have a presentation for you today as I'm going about with what financial literacy means and why it's so important for first-gen students. Again, I'm from the Office for Student Money Management, which is also under the Office of Student Success. Next slide. Today I'm going to talk about first-gen finances. What does that mean for first-generation students? And then also what does financial literacy mean? And then going over what our resources are for all of you. Again, I am the Financial Wellness Graduate Assistant. I am a second-year master's student pursuing a master's in educational psychology with an emphasis in higher education student affairs. It's a mouthful. But what I'm most proud of is being a first-generation student and continuing my education. My parents are both refugees from Vietnam, and so they were never given the opportunity for education. And so when they had me here, I knew that education was just so important and that I wanted to be a representation for others who look like me as well in the field. And so I am a lifelong learner, and I know what it means to navigate, the world of higher ed and of education, and kind of giving my parents that experience along with me. And so that's been really special. If you have any questions, my email is financial.wellnessga@wichita.edu. I wanted to share this quote because it does really kind of like wrap around what first generation is. So being a first generation means that, you're taking these risks. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing something that has never been seen in your family and no one has done before, right? And so being a first generation student takes a lot of courage. And with being first gen in college, you're both navigating what that looks like till graduation, but you're also learning about finances along the way that no one has probably ever taught you before. For myself, my parents, like the most I've learned about financial literacy was, save money, don't spend, and that's about it. My parents only use cash and they bargained a lot. And that's what I knew, but growing up, I had to learn the hard way. Like, what does it look like to open up a bank account? What does it look like to have credit? And so I want to share what I've learned with all of you. So the common first-gen challenges when it comes to finances is insecurity. Students aren't sure about the resources that are on campus or even off campus, and even how to ask for help. For me personally, I did not like to ask for help. It took me a long time to learn that everyone here really wants to support me in my journey. And so, I was working probably 4 jobs during my undergrad, like balancing everything on top of, all of my activities. And my professor just took notice of me, and she's like, there's scholarships that is coming up soon that you should apply for. And I was like, oh no, I didn't know I could still apply for scholarships, because I was in my last year of college at the time. And she was like, no, you can definitely apply. And I applied, and I was able to get that scholarship. And so learning how to ask for help and find those resources was a step that I had to take. Another challenge is social integration. A lot of students coming from a low-income background may have a hard time identifying with their wealthier peers. Get to college, and people are wanting to go out to eat, things like that, and do all these activities and travel. And so sometimes you may feel alone in that process as well. Another challenge is in planning. As much as you plan for what your classes will look like, a lot of students aren't sure where to start when it comes to figuring out your financial aid and when to pay back those loans, or what to look out for in terms of planning for whether it's a monthly plan or like a plan from your first year to your last year of college. What does that look like? And then the last challenge would be the financial gap. Honestly, financial literacy for me at least wasn't really taught much in high school. It's not taught much prior to college, and you're not able to practice how to manage those expenses or how to create those financial goals. So not knowing how to do that effectively and practice it can create a big challenge. And so financial literacy is a lifelong skill. So the more you practice it, the more you'll be able to understand and be successful in it. So I talk a lot about financial literacy, but everyone has a different meaning of financial literacy. And so in the next slide, I'll kind of go into a little bit more about what this really means. So financial literacy, is the ability to understand how money works. It's possessing the skills to make informed decisions with one's financial resources. So by having this knowledge and management skills, the individual will be prepared for a lifetime of financial well-being. So in other words, it's not about knowing all the technical and analytical sides of money, but it's about knowing how to manage your money wisely. And I say that to every student. It's not about, having X amount of money. It's about what you do with what you have right now and how you can make a plan to increase it and be where you want to be. In our office, we do have some secrets to success to help you along the way. So learning how to borrow and spend money wisely. So when you are borrowing for, loans, anything that you're borrowing, you want to make sure that you're not over borrowing. So the rule is you don't want to borrow more than what you would make possibly your first year out of college. And then always be aware of all the hidden fees. Be aware of fees from a financial institution, fees even in our tuition and fees as well. Just knowing those different fees in there and what you're paying. Be smart, cheap. Know about different campus events. There's tons of free goodies out there. Setting goals, eating at home. You save so much money when you eat at home, and cooking at home as well. And then buying or renting books off of Amazon or Chegg is also another way to be smart, cheap. And then using campus resources like the Shocker Support Locker. And then the final one is, creating an academic plan to graduate on time. You say Shockers think 30 because, if you take 30 credit hours a whole year, you would graduate within 4 years. Because the longer you are in college, the more you have to pay. And then with scholarship tips, I encourage everyone to apply for FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. Every year, it's open right now, so our office can definitely help you apply for your FAFSA as well. And then paying attention to those scholarship deadlines. I recommend keeping an agenda, looking for those scholarships, and keeping it organized on the dates on when you need to apply. And then the last one says apply, 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 because it's true. It's just waiting. It's free money waiting for you, and waiting for students to get it. And another tip is to create a spending plan. In short, know that there are ways to find, more money and earn more money. And then with the money you earn, you need to track it. Track your expenses and set realistic goals. So you need to understand, what your needs are versus your wants. Especially with everything going on right now, it might be easy to like overspend on wants, but you need to really look at what you truly need. And then calculating from there, you want to calculate, your fixed expenses. So the expenses that happens every month and doesn't change, your variable expenses, which does happen every month, but it does fluctuate. So like groceries or gas, and then periodic expenses that happen in the year, but not necessary every month. And then the tip is to give yourself grace in the process, because we may set, a goal, but you want to give yourself a little grace just in case you go over it a little bit, and that's okay. And then just know that you are in control of your spending. Once you understand that, you feel more confident in what you're doing. So to talk about our services and what we can do for you, we have confidential peer financial coaching. So we do have 2 other peer financial coaches in our office. We believe that financial education for students by students, because who knows better than us on being broke in college. And so we want to help you and support you in this process. We can also help you create monthly spending plans. So what does that look like? And what are different areas we can look into? We can write it out, or we can find different apps online to help you stay accountable to it. We can also help you create a college financial plan. So again, looking at what this year looks like all the way towards your last year of college and how much that would cost. The next for our services is teaching you on how to build credit. Credit scores are important later on in life. So what does that look like, and how can you truly build it and make sure you're not, hurting your score. Next is to find additional financial resources like scholarships, and even helping review your scholarship essays as well, handling identity theft. And our most popular service is our free tax filing guidance. So we don't do the taxes for you, but we give you the software and guide you through it so that you can do it yourself and learn how to do it as well, so you can save money with that. We do have 2 amazing resources online. We have first the My College Money Plan, which is, it goes into 2 parts, and there's different modules in there that helps you understand, different ways to pay for college. And then the next would be like steps towards financial independence, which is the goal. This website there's no ads to it. It's free. It's easy to access as well, and you can always go back and forth to it. The next one is new. We have a Blackboard course. It's the financial wellness and money management. And so this is about like a 2-hour course if you do it all in one sitting. But again, like the other one, you can come back to at any time. So this course helps you navigate your financial journey, offers reflection on your current habits, and encourage you to find additional resources in our community. You'll be able to learn and gain certifications through LinkedIn Learning as well, and earn a money management achievement on Blackboard. And we also have our spending plan worksheet on there as well. And so I encourage you all to look into this. And the next slide kind of goes into what that would look like. So there are 2 modules. So each module, you watch one video, and then after you watch the video, you will watch a LinkedIn Learning video, and then there will be a short quiz, very short quiz. And so that goes the same for module 2 as well, and we have a reflection survey. So it's good to look into because you learn, you truly get to reflect on your habits, and you'll also learn the differences between like necessary debt and debts to avoid. And so We are always here for you virtually. We do have some in office hours, but we are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're located in Neff Hall 115. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We post, financial words of the week, so you learn a little bit more of financial literacy on there through our social media engagements.
Great. Thank you so much, Jang. That was really helpful. And one of the great ways to save money is by saving energy. And I realized your light went out.
Yeah.
So you need to move around and make sure it's kind of motion censored. So you have a nice lighting effect behind you there. Wanted to just mention a couple things. I don't know if you want to expand on these things or not throughout your presentation. One of the things that I've noticed that a lot of students don't understand is the world of credit and how it works and what it is and how quickly they can damage it. So do you have any, quick tips or maybe places where students could go to kind of do their own credit check? I know that's a big one, I think, for any college student.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're looking into, when you're ready for getting a credit, starting that process, I always recommend starting where you already have your financial institution, because they're going to easily accept it as well. Because when you get denied, that's also when you apply for more credit and you get denied, that's when kind of lowers your credit score as well. And then some things I've learned along the way is don't fall for those store credit cards, because I didn't realize how much you get to the cash register and they're like, do you want to save 20% today by applying? And I fell for that when my early stages, because I was just more for the discount. I didn't realize what I was saying yes to. Luckily, there's no annual fees to it, so I just keep it open. But you want to be careful when you're thinking of applying for credit. You want to make sure that that's where you want your credit and where you want to keep it. So another tip is to not overspend, of course. So we want to make sure that you spend around 20% of what you're allowed to borrow, and then always just pay it back on time. The biggest hit to your credit score is not making those monthly payments on time. So you don't want to just do the minimum all the time, because they're watching to see how much you borrow well. And so that would be my tips for credit.
Yeah. One of the things I've heard too, and I think it's a smart choice to make with credit cards, is maybe put something on a credit card that you pay monthly. I can't think of a good example. You could do gas. A lot of people do gas. And that is one thing that you have on your credit card that you can remember. You can manage, if you're thinking about one thing that you're using, you can kind of manage that and you pay it off. And that's how you build good credit quickly, right? The other thing I think a lot of people do is set up some automatic payments monthly. Say, this is probably a bad example, but Spotify or something like that has a monthly charge that's not super expensive. Set it up so that you're paying that monthly charge on your credit card, but then pay that off and know that kind of put that in your agenda, put that in your, your monthly calendar to pay every month. And then you'll start to build some of that really good credit pretty quick. That's another tip I've heard along the way too. So awesome.
Yeah. I definitely done that in the beginning, just doing, groceries or gas. You can even with some credit card, you can earn a little bit more points for that as well. And then, again, going back to the tip, don't borrow money that, don't over borrow money. So usually when I use my credit card and I know I have it in my checking account, I'm going to send it over right away, especially through the app on the phone. It's just so much easier to do that.
Absolutely. Switching from credit, another piece of advice that you had was for students to understand where their tuition, how their tuition and fees kind of break down and where that money is going. You all have a really great resource both in the Blackboard course and in person. So if any students are interested, stop by NEF 115. And there's a kind of a worksheet that you can, think about, what are my monthly expenses? Where is my money going? And you all can help them do that, right?
We sure can. We, recommend students doing that, like, monthly, or even with us, like meeting with us, like, let's look at what you're spending money on,
Yeah.
Too often we're spending and we're not looking at writing it down at all.
It's kind of like goals. The more you're likely to reach your goals if you write them down and be committed to them. It's much easier to manage your money if you're writing it down or keeping track of it on an app or somewhere, right? Where you can actively do that. I also liked what you said about being smart cheap. At the beginning of the semester in normal times, everyone has freebies at the tables and info fair kinds of things. And I know it's a little different now. But I've known students who don't buy school supplies. They wait until those fairs and they pick up all the writing utensils they will ever need, highlighters and all kinds of things that they might need for their classes. Because I think our campus offices are pretty dialed into the things that students need, and that's what we want to give students, right? So that was a really great suggestion, and thinking about ways to be smart cheap. I think that's a great idea. The last thing I wanted to mention was, I mentioned at the beginning, this is First Generation Celebration Week. Financial Aid has had some really great videos out on their social media channels featuring our first generation students talking about the financial aid process and filling out the FAFSA. It really is important to do. And like Jang said, student money management folks can help you navigate that. Taxes is a part of that process to some degree. So really, if you have any questions about that, or if it's confusing to you, you're not alone. It's confusing to a lot of people, and it's confusing to me. And I've been working in higher ed a long time, but so many things change. But we really want students to know that there is help available, and there are these resources that can help you. And I think in one of the earlier episodes, Alicia and I talked about how money is really a private kind of matter. You don't want to talk a lot about how much you have or don't have. And so want to make sure that you all know that this, our conversations and our the information that we share with you and you share with us is confidential. It's kind of, no judgment zones. No question is a question that you should be embarrassed to ask because managing money is a difficult life skill. And it's, we want to recognize that that's a really private thing. That's what I think is so great about the Blackboard course that Jang has put together. You can do that on your own. You can do it at your convenience, at your own pace, learn those things a little bit at a time, or sit down and do the whole thing. That's great too. So that's why, we try to make it as easy as possible and as low risk as possible, so students are comfortable doing that, because we know it's tough. We know it's hard. I've run into problems too, the store credit cards, and I still to this day I'm like, yes, I would like 20% off, but no is the answer to that question every time, right? So good stuff and stuff that will really follow you throughout your life. The decisions you make about your money follow you sometimes in really great ways and sometimes in really bad ways for years and years to come. So that's why it's really important for you to know how to make really good decisions. So anything else? We're almost at time here. Anything else, Jang, that you would mention or tell students about or want to share with students?
Yeah, just wrapping up, like you aren't alone. Like, we are here for you. We understand what it's like, and we're willing and we're more than happy to help you get to your goals. So it's okay, and just take the first step towards financial confidence.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, whether you're on Facebook or online. Hope you got some good tips and tricks, some ideas from today's session, and feel free to share it with your friends. We're here to help you, and the more students that we can help, the better this is for everybody, because your success is our success. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.